This is a DSi in front of me, but it's a little different from the ones I'm used to dealing with. For all intents and purposes, well, it is just a DSi. But it has a mini USB port on the bottom. A whole lot of else. What might it be? Well, plugging in this USB. Fancy dancy audio. We have a capture card. Now, to say I'm a little speechless is kind of an understatement. I did an entire post on this on GBA Temp, writing about this capture card, its inception, how it became a unit that you could actually go out and purchase. There was a modder out of Japan that was actually selling these exact kits. And, well, I say that in the past tense because they're no longer around. They've since bankrupt. And even if they were around, it wouldn't have mattered since all capture card development installation has moved for the new 3DS platform. It's far more profitable, after all. Because what sane person's going to be spending $400 plus on the installation and the purchase and the shipping of a DSi capture device, of all things? So, this is my first time actually getting it running in the state that you see it now. I had a hell of a time getting drivers going on it, finding software that would work. I knew the software, what I needed, but finding the drivers I need for this FX2 board, it took a while. Thankfully, the manufacturer of the FX2 still is around, for one, and offers their drivers, unlike Intel, which will... their development platform that the original creator of this capture card used, you can't even get that through Intel anymore, because they just... why bother offering it? It's over 15 years old at the time. So I was just going to play around in Mario Kart and just see how it picks up, see how it works, and see if there's any glitching that I notice. Because I was having quite a bit of it, but all of it was driver related. So let's see. I haven't played this game in a long time. Alright. Let's see. Waluigi pinball's pretty fun. I probably won't go through this whole cup. But so far it looks really good. Capture is stable and not seeing any artifacting. Oh, I'm already screwing the pooch. I'm only on 50cc. Ah. Wow. I don't know if it's just this cart. Something drifts wide. I was playing via the capture software, actually, watching my computer monitor. That might be half my problems. No, not really. I did make it the first place. That's not very hard to do on 50cc anyway. So I am just watching the capture software just for any artifacting. What I am noticing is there's quite a dramatic change in color. Like how in the capture, the track is almost a different shade of yellow compared to the sand. Which it is on screen, but it's not as yellow, it's more orange. There are different modes I can go through that I might try. This is a good way for me to reference. See if there's anything I can change by going through these options. The options don't pop up on my capture. It's just going to be my mouse hovering over invisible things. I'm not noticing anything different. But you can almost kind of see it on my screen. Not as We can... All these options are in Japanese. I'm trying to remember what they were. That's for capturing specific screens. That's for scaling. Frame rate targets. But at least as far as this program that I'm using, the filters don't seem to be altering anything that I'm noticing, unless it's like a anti-aliasing thing, which I wasn't really looking for. Oh no, I lost. Oh, whoever had this before was named Jay. They had no progress on this game, so I thought this was like a freshly wiped copy. Anyway, so what I wanted to do was pull this apart and look at it. Mainly, I was more interested in seeing if parts needed to be reflowed. Solder joints. I know there's one solder joint I was working on. It got bumped loose when I originally took this apart to look at it, because I was curious. And I kind of wanted to know if they were still using, or if this was a Katsukity capture card, because it would have the Chameleon FX2 in it, which it does. I'm not concerned about it not working, but see which one have I been using. Which one was I using? Not that one. Ah, this one, okay. I'm gonna start with those points right there. Should probably get some rubbing alcohol ready as well. I may have to go with my bigger tip, actually. Suppose that was bound to happen. That would have been really fun to get this kit from scratch. Actually do it, the project with all the documentation that's out. Pippin left all of his programs, and the code needed to write to this thing. I wonder if I'd have a better time going in from the back, because there are some ports, some of these are getting really close to wires. Melting shielding off is not necessarily what I want to do. I can try, see if there's anything back here that I can nab onto. Get these vias nice and filled. I'm gonna go back to my other tip. I think I'll just be able to get more iron on. Maybe if I put a little bit of pressure on it, it'll keep those wires from popping out. Now to see if any wires popped out. Looks pretty good. There's one right here that doesn't have much solder in it still. Now that I have my angled tip, I'll try and get in there. That's a little better. Okay, I'll do that from this side, and then I have to resolder on that ground pin that popped off. I'll get those upper ones later. I think that was the sound of a wire popping out. No, I think it might be good. Oh. No, I see one kind of poking out a little. No, that one did pop out. Okay. Thankfully, these things are only popping out one at a time. I do have the pinouts. If like a whole bunch of them were to pop out and I don't know where they went, I'd know. Just a bit of researching I could find out pretty quickly. That one did pop out a little. I think that's what I heard the first time. Now that's odd. This solder point is filled with solder, but there's no wire to it. The wire didn't break. I'll triple check everything once I'm done here. But I think I'm pretty much good. At least I'm getting close to being good. Oh god. Oh no, this is the ground pin. Never mind. That's the black wire that popped off. I'm fairly positive. Because that pin originally popped off when I tried looking at this board the first time. I accidentally yanked that cable out. No, but it goes right here in the USB. I tried using an iron that was way too small, and I could not melt these vias. I greatly underestimated how much heat these things would suck in. Alright, there we go. Let me go over all these points again. Okay, here's a stray wire. I'm pretty sure that went up here at number 1. I've been doing the best job of zooming in. But let me check over my footage here. It does look like it does go into port 1. Aha, here's the other one. Okay, so that explains why there were 2 wires. So I need to track down which one went to which. Thankfully, none of these are color-coded, so they're all just one big mess. Well, actually, all I need to know is the ground pin. I believe number 2 is ground. They're both ground, so it doesn't matter. Let me double check that with my voltmeter. I'm pretty sure both of those are pins. Both of those are ground pins, so consider myself lucky. Okay, have it on continuity. I'm just going to test with the leg hole that was there. Yeah, they're both ground pins. I know I'm kind of doing this off screen. I need to get a new desk that I can do this stuff on without cramming my poor computer. Alright. Yeah, because I thought it was kind of weird that there was just a port that had solder in it, but no wire. I can do a little better on those joints. They're just getting really dry. Okay, I'm going to do a final inspection here. Oh, look at that. So I'm just going to go around, give everything just a little tug. Look at how much solder is in there. If I need to add more. It's already looking a lot better. I didn't really need to do this, but there's one that popped free. Can I just put this guy back in? Oh, because I need to strip it. This one I actually broke off from just manipulating it too much. Good wire. Alright. This one's poking up a little. I guess a perk of the wires being kind of stiff as they remember their position. Add a little more solder to this point. You know what, I could fix my little off-screen issue by just moving everything this way. Those two need to go in. Might just be able to push against this bundle of wire to shove them in. Okay, I think that is good. All I have left is the little breakout board here. Kind of give it the same deal. I wanted to just get the solder reflowed. Before, I misplaced a bunch of wires. White is 2, blue is 1, red is 3, black is 5. Just so I know where everything went, in case they decide to go rogue. The red and the black are probably going to pop out. Oh, I say that, of course the red one doesn't. The red one's held in by the white cable. Number 1 isn't even held in with a, not even a through hole, it's just like a pad. It's really weird. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna do a little bit of cleanup. Try and retract my flex so it doesn't poo all over the place when I open it again. Grab a new paper towel so I'm not getting my flex all over the place. It'll be the ultimate test to see if any of these cables will get knocked out. I'll try and be a little gentle. It's just wild actually holding this board. I spent like several days writing this paper about this thing. Even have a pie in the sky dream of trying to make a modern version of it. Where it's so easy. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. If I want to pop these buttons out and clean them, this is going to be the only time I'm going to be able to. I'll just give everything a light dry brush. I'm not going to go too wild. I do plan on putting screen protectors on this thing. Whoever owned this kept really good care of it, which I would expect whoever bought this would take very good care of it because it was a very expensive capture card to install. Just marveling at the workmanship of that. Poor microphone cable just jammed in there. Because I don't think they went as far as taking off the top screen, so this would have been as far as they went. This thing's in pretty good shape. Like, I don't even think I need to do any of this to these buttons. Taking a little air duster to the bottom shell. I do want to do something about this Dremel job. Try and clean it up a little. My flush cutters. Okay, I think that's a lot better. So now, try to figure out how this thing goes back together. Would it be easier to do this right now? No. Let's get the back on. Always find a magical way of losing these. Need to get that centered down. Yeah, this thing is like more just dusty than anything. Makes you wonder just what kind of became of this thing. Did whoever commissioned this get a lot of stream time out of it? Because you don't just buy this on a whim. Ooh, this is really weird. Oh, come on. Hasn't been that long since I've done this. Now I gotta like... Oh boy. Oh, when am I gonna do this? Now, it was just kind of like... I need to make sure... Let me check my footage again. I think the ribbon cable was on the underside. It would make sense. Yeah. Just having this spider web of cables between the ribbon cable. Wow. Definitely takes the record for the most complicated reinstall. How did I manage to do that? Though I guess in the defense of Katsukity and his team, things like 3D printing weren't really as mainstream as they were now. Maybe even custom PVC fabrication wasn't as popular as it was. Even though it doesn't really matter, I'm just gonna put the battery cover screws back in. don't you come free, Wi-Fi board? And then I gotta somehow get the shoulder buttons back in. Never put in a shoulder button like this. Feels wrong. Oh, you're almost there. It almost feels like plugging in those connectors for the new 3DS consoles. You really don't get much slack. Or usually I would plug these in before I close the shell. But with the spider web of cables coming out, I don't have that choice. Try. This is a lot more difficult than I was expecting. There we go. Ah, the Wi-Fi card came out. Of course it did. Why wouldn't it? bowing pretty good. I was kind of noticing that when I was putting in the motherboard. I might want to try and reinstall that and just sort of try and straighten it out. Get as much slack out that I can. I do want to make sure, though, before I get too far ahead of myself here, just test to make sure that everything still works. No reason to believe it won't. Yep. And I'll just flash that screen on. Charge light just flashing. Wonder if I blew the fuse. Oh, it's probably because I'm guessing it's because the battery wasn't making a really good connection. It was kind of bowed up. Let me take this back off. Shoulder buttons and everything. And try and get that motherboard as flush as I can, so I do not want that bowing under any circumstances. Get the shoulder button back off. Yeah, because I didn't really notice this before I took it off, but you can see it's kind of bulging up like that. I do not want that. So if I have to, I might go get some Captain tape and just really try and get this down. Do some good old-fashioned cable management. To a degree I've never seen before. Cannot forget you. Oh boy. So it was just all clustered around here, and that's what was pushing up on the motherboard. I really wish I could sort these a lot better. The main problem is I have to basically feed all of the wires between this point without making a mess. Which is kind of what was intended. Basically having 2 layers of wire. I have to kind of hold this in the air because these wires are so stiff. And it is possible that that's how just that was. I really don't like the motherboard bulging like that. That puts a lot of stress on it. If I could avoid that stress. Almost maybe try and just shuffle all these down here. But yeah, and then it balls up right here. Either way, it's still putting a lot of pressure. This might be a little better, doing it this way. Make sure I didn't pull any wires out. I don't think I did. But I think if I was doing this, I would be using Captain Tape out the ass. Just really just making sure everything was honky-dory. So to move wires out of the way of the ribbon cables. I might not have much a choice. The way everything is fed through here. I might just have to bulge like this. I didn't really take stock into how it looked. But it's bulging pretty good. Let me double check my footage just to see if they were all spider webbing out of this part or if they were spread out a little better. No, it was pretty much all from this point. That's interesting. I guess I didn't spot it before. Well, hopefully that won't matter as much. It might be a little over cautious. Should probably figure out why the charge light is flashing as well. I didn't put the camera back in. That's an easy thing to do right now. I guess it wants... Guess I'll put the shoulder button back on. Kind of figured this would be probably the hardest part, getting it back together. couple wires that have a lot of slack on them. Shoulder button, and then a lot better this time. Oh, still have to double check the battery here. Solid orange light. I'm guessing just the battery wasn't seated all the way. Okay, I think that's about as good as it will get. I really do recall there being a seam right there. Let me see if I can go back to my footage when I was first taking this apart. I'm guessing it was a lot better fitted together because the wires had memory to them. Now I'm kind of like took them out of that memory, and now I'm kind of almost forcing new memory upon them. We'll see kind of how it looks once I get these 3 main screws in. Yeah, it's together. You'd never know there was a lot going on back here, aside from seeing that there was a lot going on back here. Should be far enough away from the battery. It is imposing a little bit of stress on the battery. Especially right here. But I can kind of flatten that out a little. There we go. Let's make sure the thing turns on before I get too crazy. Okay. Why I do that check just in case the Wi-Fi board popped out or Maybe I forgot to plug in a back screen backlight or something. Last but not least, the little stylus. Just need to make sure that battery is really nice and seated in there. I think it is. It's kind of lifting up on this side just a bit, just from all this activity coming out. If I were to be doing this, I almost would have just dremeled a square out of back here, just to give it a little more freedom, so it's not being so imposed against the battery. This came out, this can go back in. All right. Oh, I broke the wire for the ground. Not a problem. There we go. All right, so this goes on. Oh my god, like this. Because it slides on like that, so let's get this back installed. And what I'm probably going to do for, like, it would be nice to get nuts for this thing, but I think I'm just going to tape it down with Captain tape. Just so it's not jiggling around. I really don't want it slipping out of that, slipping out of the housing and scratching the back of the board. Because I can buy pretty much everything, all the components on this board, but not the board itself. I would have to get that remanufactured. And just going off of what people are saying about the Max 2 FPGA, it's just way out of date. That putting all those resources into remaking the Chameleon board would just be an absolute waste of time and money. Like, sure, I could probably commission somebody who knows how to make PCBs to basically say, oh yeah, no, I can whip that up in like an afternoon. But again, you're commissioning somebody, and yeah. Not gonna really be an easy way to tape this down. It'll probably just be something like that, and then I'll probably do a strip forward. That should keep it in place a little better. All right, now the part that I really don't like. That's putting this tray back on. Now, it's basically just muscling it on. Which I'm gonna leverage the crack in the frame to contort. Probably almost loosen this up a little so I don't accidentally break that board. That would be unfortunate. At that point, I would almost look to see if there's like a USB-C alternative. But how I would go about wiring that just beats me. Getting very close. It's the third time I've done this, and I don't like doing it every single time. There we go. Got it. Whew. All right. Now, there was a miscellaneous screw. I don't know what its point was, but it goes right here, basically. Plops in there. I might actually put a little bit of Kapton tape in there. No, I need it to fall out in case I need to do some maintenance on it. Basically, in case I screwed up somewhere. Well, Now, for the final test. Let's get everything back plugged in. It's probably going to be a rather loud pop from this. Okay, I'll bring up the capture software. Get my micro B. Or my mini B, not a micro. Charge light's still going. Good. Boot. Capture software is not responding, but that's not really anything new. Okay, File Explorer, you do. Having it here. There we go. And I suppose I can close this video with some Mario Kart. We can do another bad round. Let's do 100cc. And not that big wheeled monstrosity that handled like poop. Ooh, let's do a classic. Oh, this already that drift was already so much better. Oh. Ooh, that was close. Yeah, you can definitely see another thing you notice when you sort of blow up the image like this. This is kind of the common complaint I see about the DSi XL, is you can see the pixels, like jagged edges on all of these textures. Where on the DSi, sure, you can still kind of see the pixels, but relatively speaking, they're small enough that you can almost just take it for polygons and not pixels. I think there was a shortcut right there that I could have taken. Hooray! Look at that. Good job, Jay. Now I know another thing I want to do is make a video of input latency. I know apparently that can be determined by what mini B cable you're using. I guess something I didn't mention is my mini B cable, like, no two mini B cables are made the same. I think I really have to go through my mini Bs again. But the mini B cable that I'm using right now was the only one that I was able to get a clear image out of. My other mini B cables were creating like strange artifacting, but that was also caused by the drivers being wonky, where I have to uninstall and reinstall them. It could be a combination of both. Maybe the bad, slower, old mini B cable was causing the driver to fail, which I don't exactly know how that would happen. Oh, Luigi. But I know I'll have to go through all of my mini B cables to see if they all work. I think I have 2 of them that work, and now that I've kind of nailed down my drivers, I think all of them will work. but I'm going to have to do a lot more testing to see how this program responds. This is the program that Pippin used. There is another program I'm trying to get working, but it's a little more complicated to set up. It's not exactly plug and play. It's a lot more universal across 3DS and DS capture cards, where this one in particular is for the DS and DSi capture systems. So we'll see, yeah. For basically doing nothing, strengthening some joints and looking at the insides of this thing, I think that worked out pretty well. A lot of muddling around when it came to the soldering, but I found that incredibly interesting in how all of this came together. Hopefully that bulging motherboard won't cause any issues, and hopefully I'll never have to take this thing apart again, because that was difficult. If I were to make this my own, like if I were to get a chameleon board, I really like this bottom housing. I think this tray is a really good idea. I think the port that goes from the back, the rear shell of the DSi, where they have it kind of feeding out the battery, I really don't like putting pressure on the battery right there. I would have just cut a big square hole right in the back of the shell. Just who cares? Nobody's gonna see it. Like, if somebody is really concerned about, oh, why is the back shell so mangled? This is a capture system. It's not supposed to be in great shape. All capture systems have some degree of, like, incision or port cut out for the interface. This one just has to have extra baggage on it, because the chameleon board is so big, and the DSi really has no space. And kind of the problem with that is the chameleon board is so big because it's a development board. It has all of those extra I/O that you would never use, and all those bulky cables. Like, if you really wanted to perfect this capture system, which there's no market for, nobody really cares, save for like the very small group of people that are insane like me, you would have to really use modern tactics, like using ribbon cables that have vias in them that you can solder onto the test points that are perfectly spider webbed, so you can just solder all the points and you don't want to have to worry about your motherboard bulging, a shell going together kind of tight, clearance with all these wires. Just a lot of bulk work, and then trimming down that chameleon board down to its bare bones, plugging in those ribbon cables in, and, well, obviously it's not as easy as that sounds, but there are a lot of modern techniques, at least as far as other capture systems are concerned, that can cut down a lot of this bulk. And though putting it into a stock DSi, like, there really is not much space. Like, you almost had to increase the thickness of this DSi by like half just to get everything in. I really don't think it could be done. Not easily. Like, the only way I could think of doing it was completely bypassing the battery, either by removing it and replacing it with a battery that is much smaller, and just have the disclaimer, hey, this is meant to be plugged in all the time. If you unplug the capture, or if you unplug the main cable, it will die within, I don't know, 10 minutes. Just a very small battery just to keep it alive. Keep date and time if needed, if that's really not really even necessary anymore. But I do think this is really neat. I'm just grinning ear every time I'm just looking at this. I think this thing is really cool. So I'm glad I've had the pleasure of writing a massive ass paper about this thing, and hope that maybe one day either myself, if I'm get a stroke of genius, or somebody else can find a way to manufacture a modern day capture card that can be easily printed and installed. Maybe even one day we can put one in a DSI Excel and say, look at this, nobody's done this before. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else to say.